does this work? Ah, these damn dolls. Sorry, just lost my temper there. You know, it said dolls can feel stuff nowadays. Isn't that neat? Don't know about you. You look a little chilly. Oh, what to give you a name? I know, it's perfect for you. You look just like a Lillian. Right, Lillian, let's get along. You know, we might even become good friends. Morning light flooded over the silent town and glinted off the shattered glass windows, crawled through the cracks of the ceilings and filtered through the colourful panes of the church, falling upon the doll's still face. Such an expression, one could believe she was fast asleep. Yep, there's the kitty cat again. It seems even glass things can dream. Light also filtered through the persnickety smoke, like a cat, who sat smouldering at the feet of the doll. What an uproarious din you were making in your so-called sleep, although you could have been dreaming of much. Yeah, you couldn't have been dreaming much. Now with that cold-filled head of yours. Doll's eyes gently floated open and landed on the smoky figure in front of her. Oh, it's the rat. I'm a cat, you lunatic witch. Did you find that elephant you were so interested in, or have you given up already? You were so adamant about it before. You're simply no good to talk to at all. So no elephant then. Flickering cat's whiskers twitched in ever-growing annoyance, but Lillian remained steadfast. What was the cat searching for? She couldn't find it, not in such cold eyes. Once again, I pray that we may be so fortunate as to never cross paths again. Ta-ta. And at lightning speed, Lillian reached down and once more yanked at the cat's tail. Wait. Enough of this. My name is Lillian. And why does that matter now? Because you keep calling me Glass Thing. That's not my name. You didn't care to introduce yourself the first time we met, so now what makes you so interested? Lillian felt silent. She could not recall the time and place of the memory, but she knew that it had been precious to her once. That with those simple words, her entire world was formed, even if the speaker's face was shrouded in fog. But the cat, with her sharp eyes, felt a wave of bitterness rise within her as she looked at the doll with the deepest contempt. A glass thing is a glass thing is a glass thing, all wretched and soulless and easy to shatter. They don't feel pain, and they make a wonderful crystalline ring when they're smashed. When they're smashed? Or when they're pierced or blown to bits. Stripped of their uniforms and pulled limb from limb. I don't understand. Glass things aren't made to understand, only do. A thing that lives solely on the wishes of others is a thing that shouldn't exist. Liam's hand grew limp, and the smoky tail slipped through. See, you'll understand in due time how empty things like you really are. Doll watched the cat slink away through the open church doors. Snowflakes were falling in and melting on the floor. She was sure that she had closed the door last night, but it was all a blur. She hadn't she? It was the beginning of a storm. A creaking old theatre. Elias' smile. That smile. Simply too many thoughts for such a foggy head. Lillian dutifully checked her trusty mechanical box before heading out of the church and into the light. Back into the streets, the doll went cranking the box at a steady pace. Song echoed off the decaying walls and loosened sheets of ice. Play a song for a coin. A song for a coin? Nickel for a few notes? A melody for metal? Tell me what you wish to hear. Yet again, there was no answer. The town stood without word. Play a song for a coin? Any song for a coin? The gentle snow and emptiness, it felt as if she had been trapped in a snow globe, with only her song to keep her company. She could play her music and beg for coin as long as she wished. She could fill the town with illusionary life. In the end, the buildings were still crumbling and the glass was still shattered. Nobody left to mourn it. No cat, no bum, no life at all. No coin. Dora decided it was going to leave for good when she heard a small jingle from her skirts. It was a torn bag of coins. No one had left it the night before. He'd been smelling so terribly when he'd handed it over. Not a care in the world. A bum like that must be sleeping about now. Lying around in the cold like a lost dog. Yours must be freezing into icicles, sticking straight out like a little frozen clothespole. That would be entertaining to see, at least. That was that. She'd say goodbye to the old dog and then be on her way. She'd go and find more coin. So she went to the bridge. Except the fool was nowhere to be seen. Merely a snowy indent had been filled up from the storm last night. There wasn't any footprints in sight. There was, however, a very peculiar stranger looking over into the frozen river. Oh, well, hello there. Kiki, oh goodness, I could have sworn I'd just seen it. Oh, please, God, I'll do 1,000,000 push-ups if my wish came true. There's a lively missus with a smile twice as peppy as she was tall. In one bandaged hand she held a simple shovel, dull from overuse. The other, well, it wasn't a hand at all. The sleeve was tied up halfway, hanging around as she bounced on a heel. Come on, God, just a little bit. I'll do, 2,000,000 push-ups even. Oh, 3,000,000? I don't know if I could. The stranger clearly was lacking in the upstairs department. God damn it, Lillian. You and your jabs at the lack of brains. Perhaps even a bit loony. Lillian took a hardly step forward when the very stranger turned around, drew the shovel like a nice sword. This is awkward. Oh goodness, you're just that harmless one. Teehee. Betty lowered her shovel from Lillian's chin and adorned a truly wonderful smile. Dole, however, was immune to those sorts of pleasantries. Did you see a person around here? A person? Gosh, there aren't any other people here besides little old me. And the people here are either 6 feet under or somewhere even deeper than that. What are you looking for? What? Are you looking for somebody? I don't know. Am I? I don't know. Are you? Take a guess. Maybe... Oh, just maybe? Maybe, or maybe not. Dark, dangerous stranger from moments before melted away. All that was left was a pure, befuddled buffoon. Poor victim looked to Lillian for a smidgen of hope. Maybe. Oh goodness, yay, I won! Or did I? I don't know, did you? Please, Miss Dole, I can't do this again. But if you want, we could search together. I'm looking for somebody too. But didn't you just say there weren't any people in town? That's right, But don't worry, my person is already dead, so they're more of a body. So I was looking at the river in case any bodies showed up. I've never heard of that before. Hehe, there's only one way to find a body. Sometimes they end up in holes or alleys, or even trees if they get blown far enough. Look, see. Lily turned back to the river and leaned a bit over the railing, looking gleefully at the debris floating by. See, there's some wood and a scrap of dress, and that there's a whole bunch of booklets. Shreds of the town's history was carried over by the frozen river. The storm the night before had been a strong one, and clawed at the houses and ripped at the streets until chunks of them flew into the storm, or the stream. Things long buried beneath the snow and earth were dug up once again by the forces of nature. They were carried away like a dour little parade. It was a dreary sight, but the mysterious lady couldn't stop bouncing around like a child in a toy shop. Lillian watched the river with the usual stone face. Half of a cabinet floated by, dressing dolls poured out and sunk into the icy bottom. Miss Doll, were you given a name? Yes, I was. Could you tell me what it is? It's Lillian. Lillian. Do you like the name Lily? Lily? Yes, you match with my name so nicely. I was called Holly. Holly spun on her heel like a clumsy ballerina. Tee, that's nice, isn't it? Lily and Holly. I suppose it's tolerable. Just then Lillian spotted something in the water. There's a ruddy bit of cloth holding through the shredded wood. Stained, threadbare, and oh so familiar. Lily, what are you looking at? All pointing into the waters. It's his. There was no hesitation. Holly threw down a shovel, climbed up onto the railing, and dove straight into the sea of debris. Crashed into the water below with a loud splash. Doll, in a panic, leaned over to catch a better look. Goodbye, miss. Take care of yourself. Those words were played over and over in her mind, booming so loud she could swear she heard something rattle. They weren't at the bridge. They weren't at the church either. Disappeared into the storm of night. How could they... Lily, I got it! A tearful soaked-through smile beamed from down below. Let's just hope he just lost the hat while, being out in the storm and, he didn't disappear into it and they just found shelter, maybe. Holly was wading through the stream of scraps, swinging that ruddy hat with her one arm. No worries, it's okie dokie. It's okie dokie, Lily. I got it right here. It was Noel's hat, drenched with ice water and ripped on one side. Owner was nowhere to be seen. So Holly climbed out of the shivering cold with her prize in hand. Father, I got a question. Much to further its temperatures, the woman stood tall and proud with a single twitch. Father, I've been thinking. Picked up a shovel and handed the woman through her hat to the door. Father! Oh, I'm sorry, dearest. Were you saying something? I was saying an awful lot, but your treasure's attention was unfairly divided. I'm thinking about it, Father. This is all extremely strange. That lady, she said there wasn't any people in town. I see where you're going with this, dear, but I won't be answering a thing. What? Why not? Well, isn't that what a story is for? The joy of finding out? It'd be hardly a story if I just told you all the reveals immediately. You're right, but... Eek! Oh, the weather's getting rougher, I think. Just like in the story. I'm wondering. Is that dear old father here perhaps? No, because he's kind of got the same ears as he does. Maybe a relative? I only just noticed that. Arthur, what's wrong with you? It's Thunder. Thunder! But you said you weren't scared, rather, merely cautious. I am, it's just... I'm sorry, I've been a bit rude. If you like, we can take a break and go to bed early. Ollie can fetch us some hot milk too. I don't want to. Oh? I want to hear the rest, you airhead. Delirious dolt. You can't just stop in the middle of something. I'll admit, I'm happy to hear that. Unfinished things are the worst, aren't they? You get scared, just hop up on Papa's lap, alright? Stop being so disgusting and get on with the story already. Yes, and it was. Without a shiver on a single thought, Holly followed behind Lillian, like a cheerful baby duck following its mother. Lillian did not mind, or at least didn't show it. She was in the strangest debt. We wandered through the streets, knocking on the doors of the deserted houses. Never any answer. One of the doors was hanging off its hinges, busted full of tiny holes. Splintered wood was scattered across the floor inside, and further in. There was a lovely set of table and chairs overturned. A vase that must have once been full of flowers was crushed into pieces from the unseen impact. I wonder what breakfast is like here, Holly mused, her stomach grumbling. Maybe soup and biscuits without any worms. The soup is thick as can be, oh my. Holly rambled on, the doll found her eyes drawn to the vase. Could almost hear the crack as it hit the ground, however long ago that had been. Suddenly wished she very badly to leave the miserable little house. The snow falling like that, everything looked new again. Nearly built, nearly broken, nearly left behind. Those shoes crunched loudly in the snow. Coins in her skirts jingled with a constant reminder. Searching, nothing in sight. Coins seemed to jingle all the louder. Holly followed all the same, oddly silent and without a trace. Looked up upon the buildings without a shred of distaste. Perhaps it was all a field trip to her. Fun a little adventure to refresh the mind. Empty skirt sleeves flew about joyfully. Left no footprints, and a grip on the shovel was that of an iron. Lily, what's the person you're looking for like? They look like a bum. And what do they act like? Act like they got it all figured out. And what will you do when you find them? Oh, tell them goodbye and go. I let out a bright, wonderful laugh. Oh goodness, Lily, you mentioned more ways than one. Not in the houses, not in the streets, not in the river below. No trace of that raggedy coat or battered, no-good grin. It's as if the storm had wiped them away completely. Only one place left to look. Not quite realizing it, Lillian stopped in her tracks. The clearing seemed to be staring right at her. Oh goodness, Lily, what's the matter? Last stop. I'm sure your bum will be right here. We shouldn't go there. Why? Okay. It's the second person to have said not to go out there. What is it that you guys are hiding from me? Oh? Prisoner spot. Someone she could almost hear the sound of cracking glass. Oh, hold on. Oh, it was Lillian saying that, not Holly. Okay, never mind, scratch that. I thought it was Holly telling us not to go out there. I was like, suspicious, but yeah. Yesterday she'd been fine, but suddenly there was a great darkness growing within her. I don't know, there's something wrong with that place. We should head back. Did you want to find that person? Searched all over town. Still talking about it. Lily. No more. Doll's voice came out stronger than it had in years. Shook her ever so slightly with a fragile metallic edge. And the one I'm looking for is out there. Even if it's scary, I don't mind. We're looking far and wide, but it doesn't matter. Nothing matters at all. Until I find where he is. Spoke firmly with a faraway look. It was clear that her mind had been made up long ago. Biting wind tugged at her empty shirt sleeve as she stared down at the frigid doll. That's okie dokie, Lily. I had such a wonderful time with you anyhow. Oh, do take care of yourself. Thank you. Holly gave her friend a good nod and turned to march into the frost. Lillian watched her get smaller and smaller, till she was hauled up by the wind. Once again the doll was all alone. Not knowing what to do, she sat against the crumbling village wall with her box settled beside her. There was a peculiar sensation in her chest. All this time she had been well enough. Box and some sparkling copper was all she needed. Those were the only two things to contemplate. Suddenly there was this cracking noise in the distance, and it had worked its way to her head. It made her feel like she would break apart. Didn't feel pain. Make a wonderful crystalline ring when they're smashed. Had to go already. Her head was full of crackling, but something compelled her to stay. Didn't want to break apart. She didn't want to be alone. Sat in the snow at the edge of town, staring out into the blankness, unsure. Crows are never a good omen. Crows hopping along the ground in front of her, rumpled feathers flicking off the snow, stuck out like a sore thumb, a vast expanse of light, dragging something across the ground. It sparkled in the light. It was something made of metal. Molly said it was too cold for any living things here, and yet it was this bird, a shrill little cry and heavy wings. It stopped hopping and looked at Lillian for something. What do you want? He danced around a bit more, trying to get a good grip on the thing in his beak. Clink. The whole thing was small, but sound seemed to echo loudly throughout the entire landscape. Away the black crow flew, disappearing into the distance. Sound in Lillian's head grew louder than the wind or storm. The din that was eating away at her was farther, much farther away, deep in a place that she didn't want to go. Doll stood up slowly, hands pulled tight around her music box. She took it one step forward, then another, then another. Picked up the pace until she saw flecks of bark flickering in and out through the snow. There was a forest of aspen trees, hidden away in the distance. And then she heard the call of crows. Doll chases after the crow as it darted through the winter aspen. A silver glinted in its mouth, clanking against the bark as it flew. Doll picked up her skirt and ran. farther and further into the wood. She would run as far as she had to. Eventually the crew would tire. Eventually it would land, with it its scintillating prize. In an endless sea of white, a splotch of darkness burrowed down into a pile of splintered bramble. Lillian approached it, but the crow only danced around the spot. It was a battered nest that had fallen from somewhere up high, precious eggs shattering into the frigid powdered snow. They were frozen solid. The crow pushed at them with its beak, as if to offer them some sort of comfort, but there was only a hard clank on the frozen shells which tapped. The crow dropped its silver treasure into the nest, felt its disheveled wings. Had been made of broken twigs and bramble. The thing truly sparkled. It had been decorated with a collector of stolen shiny goods, so that it glittered with the winter light it hit it. Lillian bent down slowly. Crow pecked at the ground around its eggs. Locked eyes, Lillian's own cold, uncaring stare against the bird's dark and glassy look into the silence of the forest, where there was hardly any movement. Then the crow abruptly took to the sky again. Lillian watched it fade into the maze of trees before turning her attention back to the half-destroyed nest. Inside were a collection of trinkets, coins to hair clips to clumps of shiny foil. Heaviest of all was the silver glinting thing the bird had dropped just moments before. Doll picked it up as if it would break any second. A beautiful, lovely little silver locket, were the signs of an engraving on its front, but it was now reduced to thin, messy lines due to years and years of wear. Somebody had loved this. Somebody had run their thumbs over its front, time and time again, as an unconscious self-ritual. When Lillian held it, she felt the heaviness of its many years in her hand, thought, and then clicked it open. What is? Inside there was a tiny photo of a beaming young man. There was a spattering of freckles across their face and a wide, charming smile. They looked handsome in their vest and tie, with their hair slicked back in their Sunday best. So whitest edge on the side of the photo, torn from a larger one. Larger picture had a life with many others in it. Doll clamped the locket shut. It didn't make any sense. Why would it be Noel? Why would they be there? Looked so cleaned up in place, like that washed up drifter, with snow piling on them. Clang, clang, clang. Fabric glass and metal were cracking together somewhere in the wood. Lillian held very still. It was close. Tucked the locket away in her skirt. It was very, very close. Doll stood up slowly, stepped over the frozen eggs as to not break them, but was startled by the crunching sound of her own boots in the snow, ceramic and glass and metal and earth. Then the aspen cluster came a passionate, sharp clanging. Sound of metal meeting frozen earth rang out as loud as a church. Oh, it must be Holly. She might be digging a grave or something. Lil looked out. It was white with flecks of speckled wood, glint of light between them. Clang, 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 clang. The ringing continued, kept the same steady pace, determined to reach its prize. Clang, clang, clang. Metal hit something else with a terrible crack, and Lillian felt as if something sharp had dug its way within her. Sound of ceramic cracking apart, terrible ringing that could only come from a violent battering. A spray of bullets or a powerful swing meant to kill. Darkness within Lillian began to grow. Is Holly perchance the maniac with a killing streak? And maybe I shouldn't have trusted her. She was a little bit too cheery for my liking. Clang, crack, clang. I realized that her hands were shaking. All joints of her fingers were making the slightest clinking noise as porcelain hit porcelain. It's unlike the shaking of a human does when they're freezing in the cold. Instead, it was like every part of her wished to escape itself. If she was a creature that could breathe, she would have held her breath. If she had a beating heart, it would have stopped. Dora suddenly became aware of every part of her that could be broken. All at once, the clanging stopped. Then realized she had clamped over her hands over her ears. Brought the shivering hand back down to her sides. Nothing more. Emptiness upon more emptiness poured in. A sea of white with speckled wood, a glint of light between them. The glint of a metal shovel stabbed through the frozen earth. It was almost like an invisible thread was pulling her nearer. Greta Box Titan walked forward. A small clearing, and in that clearing was a pit filled with ceramic faces. Cracks called out their features like gnarled scars, and paint chipped off to reveal the nothingness underneath. Eyes looked skyward, looking for nothing. Arms lay shattered, reaching for nothing. Tattered uniforms and crippled fingers intertwined with each other. Gentle snow blanketed their remains. The only vision of life in their terrible pit was Holly, standing there with an ancient skull in her hand. She was looking directly into its empty eye sockets. She was trying to tell it something. Right outside the pit was a collection of various bones. Okay, then she is a psychopath. God damn it. Why do we always have to meet the people like this? Lovingly lined up by size. Femurs and ribs and the quiet limb made up the audience. Captain, Holly said, good to see you again. Miss you so awfully bad. Don't worry, Captain. I'll put you back down soon. Just want to see you for a little while. Bounced the skull perfectly with her one hand as she emptied sleeve swung beside her. She had travelled far and wide, and yet still was tethered to one desolate place. Place where her captain, once so gallant and sturdy, had been filled in an ocean of ceramic bodies. He was found laying limp, and so was pushed beneath the earth like the others. Placed the skull alongside the rest of the body, and finally turned to look at Lillian. Lillian was unshaken in the frozen wind. Gaze was firm and steady. It made sense why she carried that shovel now. This is what she had come to do. Lillian looked into the pit below. Who are they? I don't know. I just know they were fast and not afraid to die. They're all the places where they break best. Yeah, please don't use it on me. Captain thought the best, but ended up jumbled with the rest of them. One hand she began to shovel the dirt and snow back over the bodies. Glassy eyes did not blink even once as they buried a second time. Lynn sat quietly as she watched Holly work. Couldn't tell if she should be afraid or something else entirely, so she sat completely still. All she knew for sure is that she was scared to be alone. Sometime the one-armed stranger began to dig another hole beside the array of blood bones. Pace never faltered. thought that when I came here, I would recognize the one who killed Captain. I get so awfully angry. I kept searching and searching. All the faces looked the same. Couldn't get angry like that. Couldn't even get angry when Captain died. Even when he told me to live, I couldn't get angry or happy or cheerful or anything. It was like nothing happened at all. But when I tried to walk as I always have, I lose my balance so easy. Then my arm starts aching up, even if it's not there. I see the captain telling me to live. Face stayed the same as always, like the faces that had been buried just moments before. But across it, as a mention of Captain, there was a small spark of something warm. Holly finished covering up the last of the bones and gave a great sigh. That's all there is to it. It will snow even more, and that'll make the grey zoom prettier. What will you do next? Holly mused over the doll's question for a little while. Doll watched her carefully. I think I'll go live. But not because the captain told me so. Oh my, that's rude, isn't it? When I saw you and that one fellow yesterday, I thought it would be nice to try that out. Oh, so it was you following us around. Oh, nice to know that, we had a potential psychopath murderer following us. Living? I love how that she's not even concerned that Holly was, like, following them around and being creepy. I think I want to find out what that really means. Do you think that would be so wonderful? Yes, maybe. You're pretty as the fresh fallen snow. Oh, don't you want to come as well? And that ruddy looking guy too. When we find him, let's all go together. All of us? All of us. Doll held the locket even tighter. She knew what she had to do. A statuesque figure in the gently falling snow was etched into her mind. She would find them, return the locket. Together, they would all leave the town behind. Lillian and Holly left the grave in their wintry peace, to be never disturbed again. Out from the clearing, the two trudged, the snow coming down harder than ever. The outline of the town barely peeked through the blustering winter white. Holly's teeth were growling softly, but Lillian was undisturbed by the storm. She could feel the biting wind. Her fingers could turn black and blue. Her feet could grow sore from walking. Her skin could grow chapped from the cold. It was like a splinter in her side, an idea that would not go away. A crack focused in that pit of death, her eyes frosted over with thin powder like the sugar dusting on pastries. Silence had been deafening loud around them. If Lillian was made of flesh and blood, surely this would have been different. A piece of her that was blank would have ached with painful life. Instead, there was nothing. She knew. She was no different than the tangled limbs in the outskirts, staring into the sky without a single thought. All rest and soulless and easy to shatter. A thing that lives solely on the wishes of others is a thing that shouldn't exist. Nothing. It was Holly's hand on her shoulder that brought the doll back. It was warmth, a small squeeze. Let's all go together. It was a wonderful, wonderful thought, but the hand on her shoulder stayed. Lily, Holly urged, her breath right against the doll's porcelain ear. That the guy you were looking for? Lillian searched the skyline. The thin figure was flickering in and out of the wind. They were standing at the edge of town, only as far as Lillian had gone the day before. The invisible wall had stopped them. The coat was pulled tight, but their grip was nothing compared to the furious wind that threatened to break their entire body apart. They swiveled from side to side as if it was disconnected. They were looking for something unseen. Searching, but it was already gone. It's them, they found herself saying, heard her walking. The flickering figure looked as if it were about to go out. They were frozen in their place, the snow piling up around them. Searching, Lillian went even faster. The image of the still grave and the gunpowder stains, the dying leaves beneath the snow were scratched into a fragile memory, but Lillian felt something surge from the blackness. Didn't want that figure to flicker out. Reaching forward, her hand dived into her skirt and pulled out the old hat. She waved it in the air. No. Searching stopped. The figure smiled. A gust of wind tore through the air between them. Then they crashed to the ground. No. So the doll. Darling, are you asleep? It was some time, wasn't it? In one of the most romantic moments. It's alright. Get some sleep. Gotta end it right there. God, just when it was getting to the good part. Ooh, somebody's knocking at the door. Well, just in time. Wait a moment. Oh, hi. A draftsman. Very interesting fella. So damn snowy out. God damn. Excuse me for the language. It's so heckin' snowy out. Did you bring the papers? Yeah, I got 'em. Thank you so kindly. Wonderful, beautiful creature, you. I see how it is. There's not even concerned about my health, huh? It's just the damn papers. I said it's just the damn papers. Oh yes, the papers. Perfect condition, thank you. And if you could watch your language around my daughter, I would appreciate it. Sure. Curse you for making old foggy like me shovel around in the brewer offices at this time of night. Run around in the storm too. You no respect for your old master. Well, really all the respect, sir. Because of my respect for you, that I asked you to find things. Got some of the papers, but the locations of the rest are nebulous at best. Well, that's because nobody cares about a story like this. I care. I know you care. Care about everything. Maybe you should see a doctor about that. Somebody has to care about stories like these. I think the most romantic voices are found within. I'd like to teach my daughter about that kind of care as well. A little documentation of the town beforehand. Just a few snippets around the use of doll soldiers during the previous conflict. Could be assumed that anti-doll sentiment was high. Nobody much writes about the experiences of dolls themselves. Struggles, their influence, lives are all written around the margin of others. Master, it's not important to preserve these kinds of stories for the sake of humans and dolls alike. Damn it, when you talk about like that, I don't know whether to be proud or to be bored to tears. Nothing like your old master at all. Don't be like that, sir. You taught me everything I know. Sure. Now show me what a good student you are and tell me a bit of the glorious story you got there. Oh, we get to continue it? Hell yeah. Oh goodness, going to love it. It's so romantic and dramatic and... Just get on with the damn thing. Right, so It was some time out in the Great Fall, but the snow was still falling